Hey there, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Authentic You podcast, where we dive deep into the power of authenticity and the journey to rediscovering your true self. I'm your host, Christina Hawley, and I'm beyond excited to embark on this transformative journey with you. Ever wonder how authenticity impacts relationship, career choices, and overall well-being? Well, wonder no more, because the Authentic You is your compass on this incredible adventure. So what can you expect from our show? Well, picture this: heart-to-heart conversation, inspiring stories, expert insights on the importance of authenticity. We're going to tackle the masks we wear, the societal expectations we navigate, and guide you back to the essence of who you truly are. The Authentic You podcast, where real stories meet real talk. Get ready to shine your light and live authentically. Let's get into today's conversation. Today, we are going to be talking about what you were waiting for and how it's the time for you to start stepping into your best life. So when I say, what are you waiting for? I want you to sit back and I want you to think wherever you are, whatever. Everybody knows what that is, right? For them. And it's going to be different for each individual. And it's going to be the thing that you're kind of like scared of, or you haven't quite shifted yet. But I want you to think of this as we are going through today's conversation. So one of the first things I will say when we say, what are you waiting for? When I say, like, to finally choose yourself. Why are we waiting to choose ourselves in situations? Why are we waiting to step into our own power? And ask yourself, really step back and ask yourself, have I been playing small? And what parts have I been playing small? Because it's kind of funny, because you can have different parts where you feel as though that you're playing more big, and then other parts where you're still playing small. And I would ask yourself, why? Why aren't you boldly stepping out authentically in all parts? Because if you're really doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's not pieces, but it's okay to have pieces as you get there. But I know for myself, when I started to do some of the deeper reflection, I'm a million% myself here, right? I would be the same way that if I saw you at a coffee shop, or if we went to a park, or we were like hanging out, we went to the movies, this is who you get. But it was interesting because I found that, yes, I was bold when I was going into corporate, but really in this piece of my own business, I was still a little bit playing small. I was still a little bit like kind of worried about how other people might perceive things. But eventually, when you really start believing in yourself, you realize, like, well, it should be full. It should not only be in parts of our certain places we play big and other places we play small. So if you're really choosing yourself and you're fully stepping into your power, that should be everywhere. Now, if it's not happening, we might be telling ourselves narratives or like fun little stories, because we're really, really good, especially if we've been tricking ourselves over years. And I know I've seen it with clients and I've seen it with myself, where we're pros at tricking ourselves. We can tell ourselves 50,000 different reasons why things can't happen. But I want you to start thinking if it's really real or not. So something we might say to ourselves to stop us from stepping out and doing whatever it may be, oh, the timing's not right. Or maybe when we have more money. Or maybe when I feel more confident. I can't do that now. I can't do it. I don't feel too confident yet, Christina. Maybe when it slows down. These are great stories. Great stories. And when we really understand, like, oh man, I have been saying that. So I saw CC pop up here. I think that's a great example. I hope you're okay if I use you, CC, as an example. She's traveling the world. She's doing whatever she wants to do. She's meeting people and going on the adventure of her life. but she's not caught up in, oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I'm not confident to do those things. And they would stop. But the reality is, it's not true. That is not true. All you need to do is start taking some steps towards whatever the dream is, or making a commitment to yourself like, hey, I don't want to wait anymore. Like, what am I waiting for? And when you understand that, you don't have to overwhelm yourself and say, hey, I'm going to travel the world. Maybe you can, but maybe it might be too overwhelming. But perhaps it could be something like what Cece did. I'm going to meet people that I've met on Noon Vibe. I'm going to go around the world and start connecting that way. That to me is like amazing, because there's small little goals, and they start getting you out of that space of complacency and pretending that you're waiting for this magical moment. Because I've seen it over and over again. Many people love to tell themselves stories about how it can't happen right now. But nothing will ever happen if you don't take a step, right? So that's the key. Like, we got to get you to take a step. And what is that step for you? And if that one step is, I'm going to take a step, I'm going to do it. I am going to call that person. I am going to make a plan. I'm going to start exploring it. I'm not going to keep waiting, because waiting is like being in a car just idling, waiting in idle and never getting to the kiosk to actually order your coffee, because you're not taking action, right? You're not moving where you need to go. We have to understand, when you're in idle, time flies by, and you can keep telling yourself the same story over and over again. Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there. Yeah, don't worry. That's going to happen. And you never move. 5 years go, and you're still in the same spot. And the worst part is you idle. So that's not healthy, right? So it's like you're kind of burning your fumes out. You're not even like recharging. You're kind of in this cycle of Groundhog Day all the time, because you didn't make a move. So today, I just want you guys to start reflecting, to be like, hey, okay, what is the move that I can make? What is one small move that I'm going to make towards, making the move, right? To doing something that you really want. Perhaps many of you are noomers, right? You made a choice. Hey, I want something to change. And you stepped forward and you did something. That's a choice. That's awesome. You're moving. Now, when we make a move, it doesn't mean it's magically happening. And I think that this is the part that, if I'm really going to be honest, that I find amusing now. Because many people see others at their endpoint and they think, oh, that's what I want. And that's amazing. I'm going to have millions of dollars and everything's going to work out. No one really talks about the journey, but the journey is the best part. It is where all the wisdom and the learning happens. So if you ever look at whoever you aspire to and you see these people and you see them far away and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be like that. Don't fool yourself. If you really had a real conversation with those individuals, they've all had their ups and downs. They've just arrived at a different point because they put their work ahead. They made the choice before you did. Everybody can have it. You just have to stick to whatever that path is. Like that, hey, I want to open my own business. Oh, I want to travel the world. I want to meet new friends. I want to build a new life. I want to reinvent things. Like, you can do whatever you want. You just have to take the step and believe in yourself enough to know that, hey, I'm not meant to play small. I'm actually meant to live big and boldly. And ask yourself now, are you living like that yet? And I say the word yet at the end. because you're very capable. You're very, very capable. So if you're not there yet, I'm going to show up and I'm going to plant some seeds and I'm going to challenge you guys. Because if you want the things that you're dreaming for and you're aspiring for these great things and you think it only happens for other people, I say no. That is not true. It happens for the people that choose to make a move, choose to stop waiting for things to come to them and actually go and explore and be curious and live their life and not worry and not get caught up. I call it excuse management, where we can excuse ourselves out of anything. Oh no, I can't start eating properly because I have this event or that event, or I don't want, I can't afford expensive food or whatever it is. I'm using that as an example. It can be anything. Oh, I don't want to start that dance class because I don't have the right shoes. Really? You can go to Value Village. You can go anywhere. Go get a pair of shoes. You can make this happen. You can make it happen. So I really want to challenge you guys to just reflect on it, because growth does not want to wait. Your personal growth is like dying to get out there. Like, okay. And I always say to, like, when you get the call, will you answer? Or are you just dismissing it? Are you content with being in that quiet discontent, if you know what I mean? It's the one where you think that everybody else has these incredible dreams and you don't have them. They're just lucky. Okay, so I'm going to debunk lucky right now. That is not true. You are entitled. You can have all those things, regardless of your circumstance that you are coming from. Those people that have come out of really tough circumstances, myself included, are ones that chose to show up, the ones that chose to go live their life and stop waiting, stop complaining, stop getting stuck in it. You know, that I know that could upset some people, but I'm not discounting that life gets hard. Of course life gets hard. That's why we're here. We're meant to learn, and it's going to get hard, and some of it doesn't make any sense. But the reality is you are empowered to choose to show up for yourself and make a move. And I'll tell you from personal experience, I've had a situation where I didn't even know how I got out of bed because it was so dark and so hard. But I did. And then the next day came. And then the next day came. And the next you know, I'm back in the game again. I'm living life again. So I want to say this to you. You are entitled to live an amazing life, but you got to show up and play the game. If you don't play the game, I can't help you. I can't give you the answers. But if it's stirring something in you and you're hearing this talk and you're still listening, and there's something in you that's kind of like, this little bit of fire in you, like, oh God, I wish I could do it. I wish I could do it. I'm here to tell you can. You can do it. And I will always be encouraging people to live big and stop playing small. Because when we hear that, maybe you haven't heard that message in your life. And I'm happy that to be able to share it, to say that you are so deserving of great things. Now go get them. Believe in yourself enough that you can. And it doesn't have to be big. But first, it's about feeling confident that you can and loving yourself and knowing that you are very deserving of great things. So when we sit back and we wait and we think that certain dreams are for other people, but if you have a dream in you or something that I call it like the itch that just doesn't leave you alone, the whisper in you that says, there's got to be more. There's something more that's going on. and you're not listening to it, you just kind of get caught up and you're back scrolling on your phone, or maybe you have to go back to work or you're paying your bills and you dismiss it, you're not listening to your inside voice, your intuition, your deeper knowing of where you're supposed to go, your soul's path, and like moving things along. So let's think about this for a second as we're reflecting. What are some real reasons why you may wait? And this is without judgment. I bring them up so we can actually like be like, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I'm doing this. So it could be something like they're afraid of the next steps, the unknown. They're afraid of being judged by their peers or family members. I have many clients who go through the same thing, but I'll use myself as an object lesson. When I pivoted from corporate to being an entrepreneur and having my own business, and you have to understand, my entire life was around this corporate job. My whole identity was around it. And it was like all these accolades. I went all the way through university. I got all like my executive designation, like big deal stuff. Like it took a while to get all this stuff. And when I pivoted, because I felt I wrote this book, I didn't even know how that was going to happen, but it just did. And then it shifted into this other space. I had many people ask me like what the heck I was doing. Why, like that it didn't make sense to them. Are you throwing away your career? Why would you do that? And now it's so funny because I see it as an enhancement. And I don't ever think to be honest, I can never go back the same way. Because what happened when I made my choice, and I took the leap and I started to, hey, what are you waiting for? And I started moving. I reconnected with my soul, like my deeper purpose. And the idea of going back is almost like wearing that itchy sweater. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I can't wear that itchy sweater. I'm not going to compromise who I am. Once you come out and you start understanding on a deeper level who you are, it's like letting the genie out of the bottle. You cannot go back in. But I'll tell you, when you come out and you start living big, it is one of the most incredible feelings ever, because you know that you're in alignment to what you're supposed to be doing. And I share this because I know all of you have that capability within you. And maybe the genie hasn't come out of the bottle yet, and that's okay. But if you're exploring and you're kind of like doing things instead of waiting, that genie is going to come out because you're getting more and more aligned into your truest self. And when that happens, you really lean into this space, which is completely incredible. Because what you can do, and this is why I do what I do, is like to encourage everyone to step out and be and bring their pieces to the table for the collective, for humanity. Then we all win. We all win. We all start to shift into this different space. And to me, that is absolutely incredible. Understanding why we may have been waiting, we can start understanding like, am I in that spot? Am I waiting for something? So we said that there was the fear of the unknown, the fear of judgment. We talked about being paralyzed in perfectionism. If you're worried to make a move because it's not going to be perfect, you're going to be waiting a long, long time, because it's never going to be perfect. And if it is perfect, you've actually kind of capped yourself, because you could be so much more than perfect. It's bigger than that. Can you imagine? You're like, Christina, what are you talking about? Bigger than that? Yeah, it's amazing. We think that we understand our capability at this point. But until you start making moves, you don't even know how amazing some of the things that you can do, the depth of the learning, the depth of the curiosity of who you are becoming. That genie out of the bottle, you finally become expansive. And then you can step forward from a place of truth, and then you can do what you are supposed to do. And for me, I'm supposed to speak. Did I imagine that I was going to be here 5 years ago? Absolutely not. I didn't know you guys 5 years ago. And now it gives me such joy. And it's kind of interesting because so I have a couple of conferences coming up, and I was working on my presentation. And this conference is about emerging leaders. And I was talking about my story, and I was talking about the past and where I was in the past. And I was kind of like in this world of constant need of validation. And I was like exhausted. I was burnt out, and I was following this narrative for everybody else to just pile more and more on in order to have quotation success. But when I was working on the other slide, I'm like, whoa, like I have this picture of myself, and you guys can hear it in my voice. Like, I love what I do now. It is so inspired from something deeper than the external world. And if I waited, that would never have existed. I would be a completely different person. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, we don't want you to get stuck in perfectionism. We don't want you to get stuck in old stories that tell you that you're not enough and that you can't do it, because it's simply not true. But you have to understand that. You're going to have to go through that process and discover that. Like, oh, I'm stuck here. How can I start filling myself with I'm enough? And if you show up here on a regular basis, you're getting your fill. Like, for sure on Noon Vibe, there's tons of like amazing energy here that's being poured into you guys. And what you do with it is really up to you. Now, if you're stuck in burnout or in survival mode, sometimes they're fully linked, right? You could be burnt out because you're in survival mode. You're constantly in the same repetition, and you might be saying yes to more, but you're not really putting yourself in a position to make yourself happy. You're actually doing things for other people, and you're not really thinking about you. And it's not a bad thing to think about you. We have been taught that it's very selfish to think about you. But the reality is, thinking about you so you can show up better in the world is actually one of the most healthy things that you possibly can do. So you're not snapping, and you're not like frustrated, and you're not resentful, and then you end up getting jealous or gossipy. Can you see what happens? You think that you're being, oh, I'm an amazing person, I'm helping all these other people. But if you don't really know how to say, to make a move for yourself or how to show up for yourself, and you're waiting for someone to come tell you you're amazing, you're still waiting. You're living small. You're still waiting for other people to tell you that you're doing great. But what happens is that you drop into low vibrational space. That's when the resentment bubble builds. That's when you start looking around and you're not happy and it's not fair. So if you are in that space, then that's a red flag for me. That's like, okay, well, maybe we got to start shifting. Maybe I have been waiting for something. What can I do right now to make a big change in my life so I feel good? It's that simple. And when you give yourself permission to step forward, everything will start to shift. But many of us have that like little voice in our head that will say, well, no, that's silly. Why would you do that? Or what about a family member? Hey, you're so excited. Think about how many times this has probably happened in your whole life. You're excited about an idea. You go to someone with an idea. You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And that person goes, oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That you're going to lose all your money. No, that's going to break down. Oh, silly. You don't know about that. Like the dismissive, constant, like really putting water on any sort of idea. or maybe the decision that you were wanting to make a move on something, and then you stop. But I'm like, is that working for you? Is it? So if we're waiting to be confident, if we're waiting to make a move, or if we're waiting for the right time, you're actually like paralyzing yourself. Like I said before, you're idling in that car. You're not even moving. Because real confidence comes from when we make movement, like one little move at a time, short little wins. And you don't have to go fast, but when you can build and see from yourself that you are moving in a certain direction, that is extremely powerful. Because if you start asking yourself, what am I waiting for? Then you're like, oh my gosh, I am in this space. And I think it's more common than not. With what I've seen with people that I work with, many people, not just one or two, like this is pretty constant with the flow of individuals that I've worked with. There'll be like these amazing conversations. And when people are open and honest about how they really feel, and that's another part of it. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest about where you are at in your life. But when I am fortunate enough and they're honest and vulnerable and they'll share things with me, it usually comes down to these things: that they never made a move. They always wanted to, but then time just passed by. They always talked about the dream, but then eventually time passed by and the dream dims. And there's a heaviness within them that they didn't align to what that path is. And they keep talking about someday, but someday never really comes. But the reality is, someday's right here, right now. You don't have to wait someday. And if you ask yourself why, like, what are you holding on to? Why are you holding back? I think that is the $1 million question, isn't it? What is scaring you from making a move? Because I'm on the other side of it. Like if we were in a room, forget about a room. If we were on a marathon run and you are like coming around the corner and you're exhausted and you're ready to stop, I am on the other side of the mountain. You can't see me, but I'm here to tell you, I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. Keep going. Make the move. If you started to make a move, there's a reason. If you're listening to this talk, there's a reason. There's something in you that is still waiting to be unleashed. What is it? I don't know what it is yet, but I'll be waiting, and I can't wait to see it unfold. Because when we bring these dreams, right, it's an inspiration into manifestation. When you bring it into life, everybody wins. So can you imagine if Henry Ford never made a move? We wouldn't have cars. Or, what is it? J.C. Rowling's. If she didn't write Harry Potter, we wouldn't have the whole Harry Potter thing that we enjoy thoroughly. So when you think about it, if all these people didn't make a move, we would be stagnant. But what I'm trying to encourage you right now is to think about, what is your move? Because when you make a move, other people are going to benefit from it. And we don't know what that is yet. Maybe it's someone trying to get to be a nutritionist or to get their certification. Maybe it's someone who's wanting to go back to school and be a teacher. Or think about the people that benefit from that. The teacher, this person goes back to school as a teacher. You don't know what kid you're going to impact and maybe change their life. Or maybe the nutritionist, you might save someone's life by teaching them how to eat properly. That's the beauty of it. When we learn to understand that our dreams are meant to come to manifestation, because they're supposed to have a higher impact on humanity, the collective. We're all going to benefit. And it could be through painting. It could be, for me, retreat spaces. If I didn't do those retreat spaces, those people don't heal. We all have those things. And when we understand that, hey, if I'm waiting, like for myself, there was parts in the book that I wrote originally. And remember, you guys get me now, but a while ago, I was pretty locked up. So when for me to write things in the book, I was like, I felt like I was bearing my soul. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't share this. This is going to make me too vulnerable. And I shared this beautiful story of a teacher who really taught me what empathy and compassion was, and really stepped forward towards myself, especially myself, and my brother, but myself. And really, it's such a beautiful story, just high level. We didn't have food, we didn't have money. And this teacher took it upon herself to buy me lunch every day when I would show up. I think I was like 6 years old. We show up at school with sandwiches that were not sandwiches. It was pretty dire. And this teacher, upon her own volition, no one told her to do this. No one stepped forward and said, hey, you got to be this person. Her heart led her. And she made an imprint in my life in how she showed up with such compassion. She sent permission slips home to get my hair cut because my mom just couldn't do it. She wasn't well enough. But the fact is, that person showed up, made a decision to be a teacher, and that teacher impacted my life. And that impacted my life so much, I wrote a book about it. So there's a chapter about Miss Kelly, and I will find her one day. I tried to find her. And the story just gets more in depth. Like, she did a lot for me. And when I tried to find her, I couldn't find her. I wanted her to know that I was okay. I made it out of this crazy lifestyle. And she was so sweet that, and she had the teacher, the principal, call me down at Christmas. And so I thought I was 6 and I thought I was in trouble. And she told me that Santa Claus stopped by because he didn't think he was going to make it to my house. And she gave me a Barbie doll. Still gets me choked up. And because she was so concerned and caring. But when I think about that, as a little girl, I really believed that Santa stopped by the school. I didn't know any different. But the whole point of me sharing this is that I hid that for a very long time because of so much embarrassment I had behind my childhood. But the book, this is my point, the book was where I was like, I would be doing a disservice if I don't share that story, because that story is so inspirational and loving and compassionate. And it really talks about empathy from a place of truth, that I am meant to share this story. And that story was because that mindset was a part of putting it in the book. I never thought I was going to be an author. I never thought I was going to do this. But the point is, and this is what I want to tell you guys, that you all have this amazing capability in you to do what it is, because you don't know who's on the other end that's going to receive this magical gift that you have to bring into the world. And sometimes we got to get past ourselves. We got to get past the fear of what it's going to look like, or, how people might judge you. Because the reality is, no one's really going to care all that much. That's just being locked into old stories, and where you've believed that old dynamic really matters. It doesn't. It's really encouraging people to have the confidence to step forward, stop waiting, because if I told you that if you stopped waiting and you started doing things differently right now, what would you do? Okay, and then I'll pause. Oh, awesome. I'm going to bring Peter up and see what he has to say.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
really well. This is one of those times that I talk about, like, just kind of being in the flow and listening to you in your flow. And that kind of puts me in that flow state. And
Hmm.
you don't want to tap the right side of the screen because I don't want to interrupt that, right? So,
Oh, no, 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 no. It's perfect. I'm like, it's good because I can keep going. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
because I can't not do anything because every time I like pull back, like you say something else, it just rings the bell for me. And,
mm,
I just finished a walk, and I was listening to you talk about being on the other side of the mountain and talking about how great it was. And
mm-hmm,
you talk to us, right? We're still on this side of the mountain where things maybe aren't that great, and we're afraid to take a
mm-hmm,
chance. But now, not only are you on the other side, you've seen it. You've actually come back, and you've extended your hand out and say, "Listen, it's great over here. It's absolutely
oh,
great on that side. Just just take my hand." You're not just saying, "Come on, you can do it. Come, just hop over the mountain. You'll be all right." You've come back. You've come back, right? You've come
oh,
back, extended your hand and said, "Come on, I'll walk with you." It's that good. You have to
mm-hmm,
do this. And if the right set of ears is hearing this tonight, right? And I believe there's more than a couple dozen probably. Like,
mm-hmm,
may you find no rest on your pillow tonight until you take an action, or until you at least decide that tomorrow you're going to take some action. Because
mm,
the fact of the matter is, this is not a random message, right? I'm looking at
mm-hmm,
you
yeah,
on the left
totally.
side of my screen and I'm grinning because it's so, like, everything you're saying is like, when you talk, some of the things you say, Christina, come through you, not from you. I
No, I
think you know
know.
that. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
power and the energy in which you breathe, right? And sometimes we're just perfectly placed where we need to be. And we can't figure
Mm-hmm,
out why the hell this is happening now, or why the hell that happened to me, because I didn't deserve it.
mm-hmm,
And that may be true, right?
mm-hmm,
But who are
mm-hmm,
you to block the blessing, the B word? Who are you to block that?
mm-hmm,
And I submit to you, like, someone has to hear what you have to say, because someone can
mm-hmm,
experience, right, a better life because of the experiences that you've gone through, or maybe you're still navigating them.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was asked to give a talk today to a group in Richmond, in the advocacy and the disability advocacy world. And I'm not really qualified to talk because I don't know that end of it so well, all the legislation. And I just, about 50, 60 people, I started talking, and then I started to get into that flow state. And somehow I
Mhm.
just started talking about my story a little bit. I just felt the urge to
Mm.
share my story. Right?
Mm. So good.
And you know my story, right? And it
Mhm.
was just, for those of you who don't know, it was a bad back, a broken heart, a bottle of pills. I ended up losing everything, homeless in a Range Rover Sport, shoplifting for food because I was getting arrested for that because I was too proud to go to social services. I'd hit rock bottom because of a pill
Mhm.
addiction. But I'm on the other side of that. I'm on the other side of that mountain. As I was talking tonight, today, and giving that talk, one of the women came up to me afterwards and said, I was going to take my life tonight, but after talking to you, I want to get help." And I got to
Mm.
tell you, Christina, like,
Yeah.
it blew me away. And
Mhm.
just as God source universe, the
Mhm.
architect, capital A, of the
Mhm.
world would have it, someone from leadership in that organization was there, and she ran their EAP
Mm.
program, sorry. And she was able to get her plugged in. So they took action right away. It breaks my heart to even think about someone right now, but it
Yeah.
breaks my heart right away to just think about what could have happened, maybe, possibly, right?
Right. Right.
If I decided, well, no, I'm really not qualified, I'm just going to let
Right.
them handle it. But for some reason, I had the urge to go talk today. And as I'm talking through the facts that I kind of know, I don't
Mhm.
know, I'm looking at that slide deck. I'm like, screw this. So I just, like,
Mhm.
I shifted, and I just wanted to get through to some people, and I was able to do that. And
Mhm.
I promise you, it was much smoother than I'm talking right now, but it just started to flow because when you're in state, that's
Mhm.
how it happens. That's how it
Mhm.
happens. So, Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing,
Oh God, Peter, I love what you shared because I feel like that too, where, you know, I, I was saying this to someone today
Yeah.
that, you can give me all the documents you want in front of me, but
Mm.
once I get going, it's
Yeah.
really about this place of healing and
Yeah.
stepping forward, and
Yeah.
there's a message. Like you did that as well. Like but you have to trust the call when you
You
get
do.
the call.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it's so subtle, like, okay, I guess I'm going to just say my story, because you
Yeah.
just don't know who
Yeah.
that's going to speak to.
You really don't. You really don't. And I was so grateful. I was giving praise to my higher power, God. That's my higher
Mm-hmm.
power. For other people, it's other things. That I answered the call to give this
Mm-hmm.
talk. That I was really what it's not my, it's not my boathouse, but I know how to read
Yeah.
slides and I know a little bit about it and I can muddle my way through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, I'm like, this is not why I'm here. And I can't
Mm-hmm.
explain that. It's just like you trying to tell us or me what the other side of that mountain is. Cause I can't,
Mm-hmm.
you can explain it to me, but I don't know until I see it and feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so just really powerful. And as you were talking, I was just finishing up my walk. And that photo in my mind, that scene in my mind of you coming back from the other side of the mountain, woman, and saying how great it is on the other side and reaching out your hand to take someone with you. And by
that
doing what you do every night, that's exactly what's happening, Christine.
mm.
That's exactly what's happening.
And it speaks to my heart. Like when you say that, I feel it. Like I'm going to tear up when I
Yeah.
say it, because I feel it. Because a lot of people in this world love to be on the other side of the mountain and say, oh yeah, see you later, yeah man, I made it, it's so easy over here. But it
Yeah.
takes real special people
Yeah.
who are like, listen, we know we're going to meet you wherever you're at, but
Right.
don't like, we'll walk the walk with you. Like, you don't need to do it by yourself. And I think
Yeah.
that's when it's real, because I find such beauty in the transformation when you start to really go on this discovery. And even when it's hard and you still pick yourself up and you believe that there's more and you can
Yeah.
do it.
That's right. And this talks, and like most of your talks
Mm-hmm.
that grab me, they're just not talks, right? It's not a motivational speech you're giving. It's a call
Yeah,
to action. It's a
it's a
call to
call.
action from the universe through
Mm-hmm.
you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through your experience, strength, and
Mm-hmm.
hope for somebody to act. And you
Mm-hmm.
cannot feel it if you're ready right here, right now to
Mm-hmm.
listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you, whoever you are, know exactly what I'm talking about because you feel it right now in your gut. You've been feeling it for the
Mm-hmm.
last hour since
Mm-hmm.
Christina's come on. Like that's the way this works. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
smiling because it's so beautiful. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so all that to say, I get pain. I understand what tragedy feels like. I understand
Mm-hmm.
what utter despair feels like. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand like the feeling of like maybe not wanting to get out of bed in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. I understand what it feels like to say, like, I don't want to hurt myself, but I really don't feel like living
Right.
because my
I
life
get it.
sucks because I've
Mm-hmm.
blown it up, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know that feeling, but I also
Mm-hmm.
know the feeling of this, which is a very sweet
Mm-hmm.
spot, being on the other side of that mountain that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And I can't not do what you're doing by coming back over and say, hey, listen, it's pretty sweet over there. Here, take my hand. And
Yeah.
but sis, I love you. I just want to come and say how much I appreciate you.
I feel like you really articulated that quite well. Like, I really want to say thank you, Peter. So Peter made a really good point. You're either going to feel this or you're not, and that's okay. Just know that there's different levels. It's actually an energy game, right? So when you're feeling this, there's a level of energy. It means that we're on the same frequency. That means, like, whoa, I'm getting Christina. I see what she's putting down. I'm feeling it. And if it's stirring something in you, it's meant to stir something in you, because there you're meant to do more than what you're doing right now. And that's that. I don't even know where you are, but I know you can hear me if you're meant to hear me. Okay. And I'll bring Cece up now. Cece, how's it going?
Christina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you.
So what do
Yeah.
you think? What are you thinking?
I love talking about these things, that we're doing, right? And what I'm doing in my life, what other people are doing. And it's just
Hmm.
really to inspire others because we're no different from each other.
Right.
We all have the same, I remember when I was in Florida telling one of my mother's neighbors that I was going to go. And this is when I first like purchased my ticket to England. I was going to go to England, and then I was going to go to other countries around there. And this woman, everything that I said, she had like a negative response. Like when I first said that I was going to go um, to England and travel around for a while. Oh, you must have a lot of money
Right.
saved, or
So funny.
as if I was not working for it or doing the things that but really the main thing is I was just believing that I can do this, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of money saved. I never
Hmm.
did.
Hmm.
I didn't travel like staying in 5-star hotels and stuff. But, when I told her that, it was like, it was just like she was mad because
Mm.
she didn't see the same thing for her. She didn't see the same opportunities. And of course, you have the same opportunities. Do you want to do something? All you have to do is take that first step, right? Like, and
Hmm.
the first step was 7 years ago when I decided to leave Brooklyn. That was 7
Hmm.
years ago. I said, I'm going to leave. Like, I can do whatever I'm doing here anywhere else. So let me just start
Mm.
moving around. Let me check out, more of the states. And then I took it, overseas. But there's no difference between me and you or anyone
Hmm.
else.
Hmm.
It's really about taking that first step. And that first step, I decided I was leaving Brooklyn. I was going to visit a friend in Asheville, and I was staying with him for like a weekend. That was it. That was my only plan. But I gave up my
Mm.
apartment. I gave up all my belongings except a backpack. Like that was it. Like I left with that. And I left because um I just knew that I had to make a change in my life. I was like, I stopped drinking for like a year and a half and realized I didn't have as many friends as I thought I did.
Mm.
And I thought if I stay here, because I realized like, the drinking was not the problem, right? Decided I was just going to go and explore. But I saw like, if I stayed there, because I was feeling quite like lonely. All my friends had disappeared, really. The ones that were around were my friends with kids, and I was their babysitter, which I loved doing.
Mhm.
But the ones that, I mean, most of my friends had left, and I could see me just going back into the same routines. I knew I needed to do something bigger and change. And I got to say, like, it wasn't initially like I'm going to go tour the US and go to the UK and Europe. Like
Mhm.
not having like anything to hold me down, tie me down, like the house or whatever, even car. I had a car for a very short time,
Mhm.
and that was gone. And I was like, no big deal, you know. Um, but yeah, it was just making a move, making that initial step, and then you know and then it's been a 7th year adventure.
I love
So
this.
I had to realize that like I was still miserable and I needed to just make a big change in my life.
Well, and I think there's a big part too. Like I like what you said. Well, I don't like that you were miserable, but it's a part of it. Like you have to you have to be uncomfortable
Yeah.
enough to want to make a change. But the part that's really important is that many people like to look to other people to fix their problems, which is incorrect because you have to take action. And you made the choice to be like, okay, well, I'm going to pick up and go. And then you started this beautiful journey for 7 years. Because I think it really is an excellent example for people to see that you don't have to have it all mapped out. Actually, having it all mapped out is very restrictive, and it
Mhm.
that in itself makes you live small, to be honest, because you're so set in this way that it has to be, and you may limit other opportunities or cool things that could come in that you could be doing.
Absolutely. Like yesterday, I took the bus I left Jeanette and Lisa. I left them from Maryland, and I'm in Virginia now. and I didn't know where I was staying until like I got to Virginia. Like hadn't booked like a hotel or anything, and I got here and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's do this now. I
Yeah.
don't even when I was traveling in Europe, like it was one day at a time. Oh, I guess I'm gonna stay here, or I'll stay here for a week and then I'll decide then where I'm going. A lot of people, have that fear of like, what's gonna happen next? I need to know now. I can't just go with that flow. It's too scary. But yeah, time. Hey, we don't know how much of it we have left, so enjoy it now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when we understand, I love it because you're literally living in the moment, right? Because you are not you don't know. You're just kind of going with the flow. And there's such gifts in living in the moment. That's when you actually end up manifesting, believe it or not. Like you actually are creating your life right before your eyes. It's pretty
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have this big old, a lot of the, a lot of people talking about, you have to have these big goals and these big dreams.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know I was going to live this long, honestly. I didn't think when I was younger, I thought I wasn't going to make it past 18. So I didn't have goals and dreams. I just know that I kept going. That's it. I just kept going. And recently I wrote on my my social media, PSA, you're going to die. Enjoy your life now. It's urgent,
It really is. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you waiting for? That's the whole point. Like, if you want to go do it, just go do it. And all the other pieces, maybe that was the move, like with you, just to go visit your friend, that ended up being a 7-year plan, right? Without it, not even a plan, journey that you just kept going and going.
Yeah.
Everybody has that capability. You just got to make a move.
Yeah. I was saying it was like my own like pilgrimage, and it's still going. And, of course, all the lessons that I've learned, the lessons and the blessings and the awareness that
Oh,
it
yeah.
gave, I mean, wow, so many beautiful lessons. All right. Thanks, Christina. I look forward to
Okay.
listening to more and more
Thanks,
people.
Cece. I want you guys to really reflect right now and think about, what are you holding on to? What are you waiting for? Is it fear that we're scared that you don't have enough money, that maybe it's not for you, it's not good enough, it's too big for you? Like, these are things that I'm assuming that could be in your minds right now. But I'm here to tell you, it's very simple. Just make one little move and your life will start to pivot. But if you don't move, nothing's going to change. And you have to really sit back and ask yourself, are you happy with that? And if you're happy with that, then stay put. But why are you showing up here? Because if you're showing up on a regular basis to get a little bit of this motivation, this little bit of fire, there's something in you that's calling you to this space. And for me, what I would say, it's something about you want more, but you are still locked in some old paradigm thinking that you can't have it, but you can. So I would like you to reflect on that a little bit deeper. And when you start thinking about whatever that idea is for you, like maybe it is another job, maybe it's a new relationship, maybe it's traveling the world, maybe it's writing a book, like you have some authors here, maybe it's speaking on a stage. It can be absolutely anything. You no longer wait for the perfect moment. You are the moment. You trust yourself, you choose yourself, and you choose to rise right now. All right, you beautiful souls. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and behind the scene content. And if you have any suggestions about future topics or guests, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, remember, stay curious, keep learning, and never stop exploring the fascinating world around you. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.